Not necessarily. I'm more here on a different aspect. I just.
All right, it's 6 p.m. I'm going to call our special meeting to order. The purpose of tonight's meeting is to discuss some matching fund opportunities for some great grant funding regarding broadband. I believe we have Commissioner Bill joining us via phone. Commissioner Bill, are you hearing us okay?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Manager, the floor is yours.
Thank you, gentlemen. Real quickly tonight, I appreciate each of you getting here and gathering for this special meeting. Time is of the essence on this, as I will go over with you here right now. To start with, what we're going to be discussing here tonight will require no new money. We're not talking about any new funding. And it's given this opportunity, this board, the unique opportunity to bet on the horse after the race is over. So,
That's cheating.
yes. So you get to pick the winning horse after the race is over, so to speak, with this. We're going to be discussing the GREAT grant. I know this has been very important. It's had a lot of press. Many of your constituents, I know, have spoken with you directly about what the county is doing to pursue these GREAT grant opportunities. We've had much publicity about it here recently. The Growing Rural Economies with Access to Technology Fund, the GREAT grant is put on through the North Carolina Broadband Infrastructure Office, and in this budget for this round of funding, there's $350 million that has been set aside statewide for these GREAT grant opportunities. I want to first thank the Broadband Committee. They have put a tremendous effort behind the scenes following the release of the guidance for this program in February. We have met once a week with this Broadband Committee to make sure that we were putting Macon County in the best position possible to maximize this unique funding opportunity. We've met with providers. We've assisted them with data gathering, etc. We have a few members of the Broadband Committee here tonight. Mr. Jeff Lee with Little T Broadband, Mr. Tommy Jenkins, and Mr. Joe Allen here tonight with us. So thank you all. There's some members that could not make it. Also want to thank the legislative delegation, Senator Corbin and Representative Gillespie, for their roles in securing this funding for the GREAT grant in the budget. They also have continued to promote these funds. We recently, on Monday, had a retreat, if you will, at Holly Springs Baptist Church, where Senator Corbin and Representative Gillespie brought the Broadband Infrastructure Office from Raleigh to Macon County to meet not only with government officials, but with providers and interested stakeholders within the community. So I want to thank them again for that. The deadline for the GREAT grant submission is April 4th, which is why we're here tonight. It's, of course, before our next board meeting. And as each of you may or may not be aware, when we're talking about the GREAT grant, the private provider must apply for this grant. The county cannot apply for a GREAT grant. The county's role in the GREAT grant process is one of partnership. And up until today, we have received 2 private companies have came to Macon County and proposed 3 different projects for submission to the North Carolina Broadband Infrastructure Office for this round of GREAT grant funding. We were informed today at 5 after 5 that there will be a 4th private provider submitting an application prior to this April 4th deadline. So that's going to bring the total applications in Macon County to 4. With the 3 projects that were submitted that we had in hand before 5:05 today, those 3 projects are going to have a combined total cost of $10.6 million, and they'll provide broadband internet service to approximately 2,000 unserved and underserved customers in the northern and southern portions of Macon County. Much of the detailed information surrounding these grant applications until they are submitted to the Broadband Infrastructure Office, much of that detailed information is proprietary at this time, and out of respect for the providers, cannot be shared at this time until the GREAT grants are submitted. In terms of partnership, the County Broadband Committee would recommend appropriating $200,000 in American Rescue Plan money that we received from the federal government. We would recommend appropriating that to provide a local match to each of the 4 applicants, each of the 4 applications that will be submitted. So right now, with just 4 applications, that would be at $50,000 a piece per application. Not all these applications will be awarded. So that's why I say any money that we put up for a match that the grant application is not awarded, that money will come back to us. So that's what I said. You get a chance to bet on a horse after the race is over. So what this money will allow us to do is it's going to put us in the best position. It's going to, through this $200,000, $50,000 to each provider, it's going to put them in the best position possible to receive these great grant awards. Essentially, each application that can prove that the county has appropriated funding from American Rescue Funds will receive 6 additional points in the application scoring process, and the private provider match will be reduced from 30% to 15%. Now that's a big deal when you're looking at this $10.6 million project. That means the match on the private providers through our GRAPE funding, they will be able to reduce that required match on their end from approximately $3.2 million to $1.6 million. So you can see why it's very attractive for us to leverage these $50,000 per each application. It really gives those providers an opportunity to leverage that money. So the action that we would be asking tonight is to appropriate $200,000 in American Rescue Plan funding to be used for a local match on great grant submissions. Also, we would need authorization for the county manager to write a letter of support that is reflective of this commitment for each of these applications being submitted. So that is a 100,000-foot view. Happy to take any questions. I have members of the Broadband Committee that are far more versed in it than I.
Maybe you said it, I missed it. Where would the funds be coming from?
American Rescue Funds, the $6.9 million.
No, our funds, local funds.
Yes, they will be coming from the American Rescue. Yes, those funds that we received.
Okay.
How do you retrieve that since it's committed? You just reduce the...
Well, no, it has been committed, but what we have found we had authorized that for premium pay, but we have projected out. We have made one payment with that of premium pay. So basically, the balance we had left over because the budget amount's not going to be what you actually pay out. There's going to be some left there. So I think when Lori had projected that out, our finance office, we will have sufficient funding to cover this match from that, just lapse. In other words, if somebody was sick, they don't receive premium pay. If somebody was out on vacation, they will not receive premium pay. So that causes those unspent funds to accrue, and over the designated time period for that, we'll have lapse sufficient enough to cover the $200,000 that will be appropriated.
And if not, we just grab it anyway.
No, it'll be there.
Okay.
It's good. This will require no general fund money.
Now the provider, how did you elicit?
The providers are in discussions with the Broadband Infrastructure Office themselves. So when this opportunity is out there, it's up to the providers in each community to make the business case to pursue this grant application. What we have here is a situation where 3 local providers have saw this money on the table, looked at their current service areas, and been able to put projects together that made financial sense for them in light of this grant funding.
Now is that top secret or?
I think we certainly can share the providers at this time that are submitting applications. Frontier was the one, they contacted us late today. They will be bringing one. We have met with and discussed, we've had discussions with Balsam West, who has submitted a proposal, and Morris Broadband, formerly Morris Broadband, now Altice, will be submitting a proposal as well. So that they'll be submitting 2. So those will be the 4 submissions that we have at this time.
Well, I'm on Nathan Keener, good friend of mine. He represents Frontier. I just want to thank you for showing up. Thank you for being up. Now the numbers is a little staggering. You're talking about how many? $10 million?
10.6
for 2,000.
And see, that's all the projects together. Now these projects, when they go down there, in other words, what we're doing is we're making sure with this $50,000 commitment to each application that they receive the maximum amount of points that the county can possibly, that we have something to do with. So by making sure that the match gets reduced and they get the points associated with the ARPA funding, that's making sure that we take our role as far as we can. Now, that's only one portion of the grading though. When they get down there, these applications will be evaluated on cost per pass. So the ones with a higher cost per pass will be shuffled down in the stack, bringing those that are the most efficient, if you will. They'll be graded on that. They'll be, what are some more, is there anything else?
The percentage of unserved that are available, that'll be covered by a particular application.
Yeah, the unserved versus partially served. So all these, they have very intricate data on their maps where they have went into these areas, showing exactly where these connections are going to occur. So that the broadband office will evaluate those applications. But as far as we're concerned, by giving this appropriation to each of these applications, Macon County's done everything we can do to put each of those providers in an equal position as far as we're concerned to get a grant award, that's what we're concerned with, is bringing the broadband money in some way back to Macon County.
And once we commit to this, give them
They'll have everything they need.
what does this board, do we have off ramps in this whole process?
We're only required to expend the funds that are awarded. So if these 4 applications go down there and 2 of them get awarded, that means we're only out $100,000. That other $100,000 will revert back to the county.
I mean, that's our only chance. I mean, if after the grants are awarded, we're out of it in essence.
Yes, we will have to monitor. We'll have to monitor how the funds are spent because they're American Rescue funds, and once we give them to the provider, they become a subrecipient of this funding. So we'll have to monitor these funds and be sure that they're used accordingly for what they were appropriated.
How does that monitoring occur? Is
through our finance department.
And then the broadband committee, what is their role from this point forward?
The broadband committee is just going to continue to assist each of these providers in any way we can to help them do whatever they need to do to get, whether we have to assist them with mapping or just be a resource to them in taking this process from the planning phase to actually rolling it out.
Thank you, guys.
Commissioner Bill, any questions?
I just want to say that some of this is probably our best bet to get a portion of our contingency with broadband. I mean, the broadband committee's worked very hard, and I think this is an opportunity, and we hope that at least 3 of the 4 providers will be successful. And so, with American Funds money, I think this is the best scenario, Mr. Chairman, so thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions, comments?
I would like to say thank you guys for showing up today, especially on a Wednesday or Thursday with short notice. So, Mr. Keener, I appreciate you guys coming in.
We appreciate you. Can we get a motion to approve said funds?
I'll make the motion. The appropriating of $200,000, who does that go to now?
We're just going to appropriate $200,000 from our American Rescue funds to be used for local match on great grant submissions. And we will also authorize the county manager to write a letter of support reflective of this commitment for each of these applications being submitted. So that is the motion in its entirety.
We got a motion by Commissioner Shields. Second by. All right. We got a second by Commissioner Young. He beat you, Commissioner Bill. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Also, real quick, I'd like to thank Commissioner Shields. He's drove this. We was talking about it in the office. It's been about 7 years now that we've rode this thing and starting to finally see some things come to fruition. But I'd like to thank him for his leadership on this broadband committee.
Thank you.
It's a team. It's a team.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Bill. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
How's your brother? How's your brother?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Chairman.
Got a motion by Commissioner Higdon.
Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Young. All in favor?
back up the hill, Jimmy.
What did he say?
Thank y'all.
He didn't respond. I think he hung up already.